Welcome back, Shark Kings, to another episode of the Last Chance to Play Predictions. We've been going strong for months now. Every game that's left in 2024, we predicted it was gonna leave. And if you don't believe me, just go watch those videos. So let's get started. This is gonna be the biggest month of them all. We're losing so many huge titles. PlayStation Studio games that we thought would never leave. Death Stranding, Ghost of Tsushima. I can't believe it. And we're gonna go through every single game on this April 1st edition of The Last Chance to Play Predictions. Got 'em!
But if you close your
Emotional damage, emotional damage, emotional.
I'm so sorry I had to do that. April Fools, and sorry about the heart attack. I swear I'm not going to yell at you for 20 minutes for the rest of this video. Let's go through the real list. So how we do things around here, if you're new, is we go to 2024 and 2023 and see what games have 12-month and 24-month contracts and are set to expire. If you don't have the attention span for a 20-minute long video, don't worry, we got you. Here are the list of games from 2023 and 2024. Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, Rise of the Tomb Raider, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, The Evil Within 2, Lake, Humanity, Dishonored 2, Dishonored Death of the Outsider, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, Sakuna of Rice and Ruin, Rain World, Thymesia, Deceive Inc, Cat Quest, Cat Quest 2, Stranded, Alien Dawn, Crime Boss, Bus Simulator 21, Conan Exiles, Rune Factory 4, Story of Seasons, Mineral Town, Story of Seasons, Olive Town, and GTA 5. And for premium, we have 2 Extreme, G-Police, Worms Pinball, Siphon Filter, Logan's Shadow, Blade Dancer, Pursuit Force, and the Ghostbusters video game. If you appreciated this short version, and you're not going to stick around for the reviews and gameplay of each game, then all I ask is leave a like on your way out for the algo. This tells YouTube it should recommend it to more people. If you're seeing this way too late, make sure to subscribe, so you can become one of the privileged few who get a 2-week head start. So before we get started on May's list, let's talk about April. Although every game on the Last Chance to Play list from April was predicted in our video, here's something unpredictable. They added Disco Elysium with 2 weeks left. No rhyme, no reason, no official announcement. In fact, it doesn't even show up on the Last Chance to Play list. But if you have it already downloaded to your system, there's the countdown. This is an absolute must-play and one of my favorite games, but I can't recommend you start it because 2 weeks is not enough time to play it. Why do us like that, Sony? I thought we had a deal, man. 1-year contract, 2-year contract. Just keep it simple. Speaking of which, let's get started and go to the PlayStation blog. We're going to talk about the games that came to PS Plus Extra in May of 2023. So the first game on the list is Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. I don't know about this one. This is going to be a tough call if this is going to leave or not, because this is a PlayStation Studios game. But to be fair, PlayStation Studio games have been leaving the past few years. Last year, we lost Horizon Forbidden West. The year before that, we lost Spider-Man. So nothing is safe. So maybe this will go. But I highly doubt it because last month we had Uncharted on the list and that one didn't leave. So I doubt this one's going to go. So if you haven't played Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, get to it right away. This is one of the top 3 games to play on PlayStation 5 on the PS Plus Extra catalog, because this is one of the only games that actually takes advantage of the DualSense controller features. Most prominently, the use of the trigger as 2 buttons. So if you half press it, it does one thing, and if you full press it, it does another thing, which makes it feel really cool and next gen. Not to mention that this game just looks like a straight up Pixar movie. Highly recommend it. If you haven't played this already, get to it right away. Even if it doesn't leave, this should be one of the first 5 games you play if you recently got a PS5. It really shows off the PS5's capability of the no loading times, because you're constantly jumping from dimension to dimension and the levels are drastically different and there is 0 loading times in between them. You're just going bap, bap, bap. The transitions are seamless. And I will add one more thing, that the weapons in this game are some of the most inventive weapons I've ever seen. Great game, great visuals, plays amazingly well. I can't recommend this game enough. I don't know if you know this, but Ratchet and Clank always has, how do I say this? Butt puns. So we have Up Your Arsenal, A Crack in Time, Going Commando. So Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. So I think this is a spoonerism where you switch the letters around and you get different words. So I think they actually mean ripped apart. Yes, you heard that here, folks. Ratchet and Clank Ripped Apart. I don't know why. Maybe they started with a joke and they kept it going. But I assure you, there are no fart jokes in this game. Great score. Critics gave Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart a score of 88, and it deserves that. And then users gave it an 8.5, and it deserves that too. Highly recommended game. Almost a short game. So close. 11 hours. Completionist run, 18 hours to get the platinum. Not too bad. This is more my kind of game. The perfect length for a game. All right, let's move on to the next game. Next. Ooh, this is the big one. The big announcement of this month. Sorry about the April Fool's pranks, but this might be for real. Tomb Raider. All three of them. So we have Tomb Raider Definitive Edition. We have Rise of the Tomb Raider. And we have Shadow of the Tomb Raider. All three games are probably leaving, and these are huge games. This is going to be a weird reference because it's kind of backwards, but if you like Uncharted games, you're going to love this. It's weird because we wouldn't have Uncharted if it wasn't for Tomb Raider. Like, Tomb Raider is the OG. And honestly, after playing a few of these with Lara Croft, like, I love her and everything, but Nathan Drake is so much more likable. Like, Lara Croft just seems like a spoiled little rich girl, and Nathan Drake is from the streets. So yeah, so as far as Tomb Raider goes, this is the way you start them. You start with this one, Tomb Raider Definitive Edition. So this one you get to play from when you were an experienced young woman into the hardened survivor that you become. You get to customize her weapon and gear. The platforming's great, the shooting's great, the graphics were great for when it came out, but it's a 2013 game, so prepare for a lot of quick time events. QTEs were really popular during that time. And then this one's the second one, so she's kind of already established herself and she's chasing down more treasure in Siberia. So this one's great. It has a bunch of extra features like PSVR support for blood ties. It even has online co-op play for endurance mode. The nice thing about these games is they include so many skins. So you can choose to play in many different outfits, and when you see the cutscenes and when you see your little player, they change into whatever outfit you chose for them. Which is kind of nice because a lot of games don't give you alternate outfits until you've beaten the game and then you play it on New Game Plus. And then Shadow of the Tomb Raider is the last one of the series. I think this might have been an essential game. Let's go to Metacritic and see what games are the best when it comes to the Tomb Raider remakes. So the first one, Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, released on 2014, had a Metascore of 85 and a user score of 8.1. Not too bad. So Rise of the Tomb Raider 20-year celebration was released in 2016 and it had a rating of 88. Not too bad at all. This is a great game with a user score of 8.0. And then finally, we have Shadow of the Tomb Raider. It had a Metacritic score of 75 and a user score of 7.3. And let's quickly go to How Long to Beat, where Laura is gracing us with her presence on the main splash page. So if you play the main story, it's about 12 hours, and if you add in the extra side stuff, it's about 16 hours and 21 hours to get the platinum. And Rise of the Tomb Raider is about 14 hours. Extra will get you 22 hours and a completionist run of 36 hours. And then finally, we have Shadow of the Tomb Raider, clocking in at 13 hours, or double that if you want to do the extra stuff, or 43 hours, holy moly, to get the completionist run. Maybe that's why people hated it. Humanity. This was a huge deal. This was a day one drop for us. We don't get that many day one drops. It's like a Lemmings type game if you ever played those games like way back when. It's a dog that tells the people where to go, and it's puzzles. And the puzzles are constantly evolving. But just letting you know that this game, as much as I love it, kind of overstays its welcome. It just keeps going and going and going. I mean, I guess if you bought it, that's a good thing. But for a puzzler off of PS Plus Extra, like I just want to play it for a week and say bye to it. Guide the masses through 90 plus stages filled with obstacles, enemies, puzzles, unlockable skills, and wild boss fights. Oh, interesting. It also has PSVR and VR2 support. It's a really fun game and a fun puzzler, but I kind of regretted getting the platinum. It was way too much work for a puzzler. So Humanity is a great puzzler. It had a score of 86, but I don't think it's that good. All right, that's better. So the user scores gave it a 7.9. I'd say it's like somewhere in between. It's like an 81. Maybe. I don't think it's an 86. It's not that good. Calm down. 12 hours or an 18 hours completionist run. Watch Dogs Legion. Yeah. This one is not leaving because this one is a Ubisoft game. So don't worry about Ubisoft games. Let's move on to the next. Ooh, Dishonored 2. I gotta play this one. Play in a world where mysticism and industry collide. Will you choose to play as the Empress or the Royal Protector? Will you make your way through the game unseen or use the brutal combat system? So I played Dishonored Death to the Outsider, and it was basically a mix of Deathloop and Bioshock. So you could play the game really stealthily, and there were plenty of abilities that helped with that, helped hide you. Or you could go the opposite way and just kill everyone one in sight because there was some pretty brutal abilities. And the next one is Dishonored Death to the Outsider. So this one I actually played. This one is a short game. I played this one. If you like the BioShock games, especially BioShock Infinite, you're going to be a fan of this game. Maybe it's not as good as that one, but you'll get to relive some of the movement mechanics. In this one specifically, you can teleport. You can use a remote viewing, which is basically like a free camera mode where you can move the camera around within, I don't know, 20 meters, let's say, of you and see where all the enemies are and tag them before you spring to action. Or my favorite, there's an ability that's kind of like the Spy from Team Fortress 2. This is where if you sneak from behind to an enemy, you get to choke them out and steal their face. So then you get to walk around and the NPCs think you're one of them. But it was pretty cool. It had multiple endings. I recommend it if you're into those kind of games. So for Dishonored 2, it had a user score of 8.0 and a Metascore of 88. As for Death of the Outsider, it had a Metacritic of 82 and a user score of 7.2. We have Dishonored 2, which is about 13 hours or 46 for a completionist run. No, thank you. And then this is the one that I played was Dishonored Death of the Outsider. It's only 6.5 hours, which is way more my cup of tea. And if you really wanted the completionist run, it's 18 hours. So this is technically a short game, and it's why I played it. But everyone's saying that number 2 is a little bit better. All right, next we have Sakuna of Rice and Ruin. I'll admit I haven't played this one. Yeah, it looks pretty good. It has a Metacritic score of 80 and a user score of even better, an 8.3. I don't know much about this, but yeah, you fight monsters and cultivate rice. You learn the ancient arts of agriculture from planting to harvesting to cultivating the perfect crop. And as the harvest grows, Sakuna's strength grows with each rice crop. So you get to use farm tools as weapons, and you get special attacks to take down demonic beasts. Honestly, this one looks pretty fun. It looks silly, but it looks fun, but it has a great rating. I might give it a try if I have time. Ooh, I guess I am not playing Sakuna of Rice and Rain because it is not a short game at all. The main story takes 30 hours, 49 hours for a completionist run. Bus Simulator 21. Do I even talk about this one? So that one is probably going to leave. If you like buses and simulator type games, you will like Bus Simulator 21. According to critics, this got a 73 and a user score of 6.0. Do I need to talk about this? I don't think I do. We have The Evil Within 2. Oh no, I thought I had more time to play this one. So I played the first one and it was a great game. If you like Resident Evil type games, but way more trippy, like psychological, this is right up your alley. I meant to play this one because it's supposed to be a lot more polished than the first one, but I was really hoping to play it later, like near October. I'm not ready for a horror game quite yet. So the good news about The Evil Within 2 is it's actually shorter than The Evil Within 1. But Evil Within 1 took 15 hours to 40 hours. And Evil Within 2, 13 hours up to 28 hours. Okay, maybe it's doable. Maybe I could beat this in a week. This is a very stressful game. It's psychological horror and blood and gore like Resident Evil. Great games to play. Let's go check out Metacritic because the question is the second one better than the first one? Because my only frame of reference is the first one, which has already left, by the way. So this one, critics gave it a 75, but the users scored it a little bit better, 7.8. And then again, the fans agree. This one has a fan base for sure. Look at this, 76 and a user score of 8.1. So everyone is saying that the sequel is better. So maybe that's worth trying. Add that to the list. The Evil Within is probably going to leave, most likely, because the first one already left. And then we have Wolfenstein Youngblood. Now, in the last video, I did predict the Wolfenstein games were going to go, and they didn't. So I don't see why this one would. So I'm going to say this one's not going to leave. Then after that, we have Thymesia. It's an action RPG with fast-paced combat and a crazy plague weapon system. It has lots of variety of enemies and gruesome boss battles. You can shift into your raven form during battles and throw feathers like daggers to interrupt your enemy's attacks and perform executions. They should make a sequel to this called COVID-19. Boo. And then we have Rain World. This is one of the most controversial games in the entire PS Plus library. Why did I say this is controversial? Because even though all the critics agree that this game is kind of broken, fans love it. 8.4. What is going on here? Another thing you don't know about Metacritic is this right here. Let me show you. But if you go to Metacritic and we go down, all the way down, there is a little pie chart of the difficulty. And this is one of the hardest games. A huge minority, 30%, said this game was a tough game to beat. And the overwhelming majority of 65% people said this game was unforgiving. Let's go to a famously hard game. So we're going to go to Dark Souls 3, which is an amazing game, but it is known for being really hard. Look at this. Less than 40% said it was unforgiving. 44% said it was a tough game, but 12% were like, this is just right. And a few crazies thought this was a simple game or an easy game. But for the majority of people, this is a tough or unforgiving game. This is Dark Souls 3. So let's go back to Rain World. Look at that. So this is Dark Souls 3. This is Rain World. This is an impossibly hard game. Unforgiving. And the reason it's unforgiving, it's not hard because it's your fault and you're doing something wrong, but something about the animation and the physics of this game will just kill you when it's not even your fault. Dead enemies blocking the exit, very finicky controls. Rain World is sloppy, clunky platforming. It is a game of fumbling controls, arbitrary deaths, and tedious repetition. So, yeah, Rain World, what do you say about it? Do we play it or do we not bother with it? I'd say just give this a try and see if it's as bad as people think. Because critics say it is bad, but gamers are like, get good, noob. It is a very controversial game. A lot of gamers give up and hated it, but others spent hundreds of hours and put it right behind Outer Wilds as the best game ever. All right, and then we jump into Lake on a sunshiny day on the beach in the summer. Lake is a pretty short game, so you can beat it in 6 hours, and the platinum is only 7.5 hours. It has a critic score of 70 and an unforgiving score of 5.8 when it comes to users. Why did they think it was so bad? Well, I'll tell you my personal experience with it. The story of Lake is a pretty good girlfriend game. It is a game that is basically like a Hallmark movie. You're a big city girl that moves to the small town and falls in love with the local lumberjack. It's basically a walking sim, and you get to take over your dad's business while he's away, and your dad's business is he's the post office guy. Very similar game to Death Stranding, just kidding, because after a while you just realize you're just doing a job. It becomes a postman simulator. And you kind of wish that you could skip the postal worker aspect of it because you want to get the story going. But the clunky driving controls and the little town has its charm in the beginning, but it kind of gets stale after a while. Oh my god, I just noticed that the Lake logo is a rock that's being thrown on the lake. That is really cute, actually. I'll give it some points for that. Personally, for me, this is one of the few games that ran better on the PS4 than the PS5. For some reason, on the PlayStation 5, it was laggy, it was stuttering, it was a mess. And the loading times. It had one of the worst loading times for a PlayStation 5 game, but I will give it some points for the video store. The attention to detail in all the alternate names for famous 80s movies names deserves some recognition. All right, let's do the last games really quick. We have Conan Exiles. I'm not even going to talk about these games. Rune Factory 4, Story of Seasons, Friends of Mineral Town, and Story of Seasons, Pioneers of Olive Town. And then Soundfall wasn't released in North America. Do we talk about PlayStation Premium Classics? We have Siphon Filter, Blade Dancer, Pursuit Force, and Ghostbusters, the video game remastered. So that's 2023. Let's jump to 2024 right now. And the big one on the list is Red Dead Redemption, which was only a 6-month contract. Boo, Rockstar. Don't even bother playing Rockstar games when they come to PS Plus because they have 6-month contracts and they're not worth playing. Speaking of which, GTA 5 was added 6 months ago, so it's probably going to leave in May as well. Let's talk about Deceive Inc. We're going to go to the critic scores. All right, Deceive Inc. has a lovely score of 75 with a user score of 5.8. Deceive Inc. is basically like a Among Us type game where one of you is a spy. You get to choose from a bunch of different characters, each having unique weapons and abilities, and it's a fun environment if you get to play with your friends. And I believe it was a monthly game that we already have, if you've been part of the service for a while. And then we have an expansion pack for The Sims 4. This is City Living. This is a tricky one. I wouldn't even bother downloading these ones because The Sims is free. So if you're playing a free game and you have this save file, and then suddenly you get an expansion pack through PS Plus, now you no longer own that game. Now you have to treat it as a rental. Your months of work on your years-long game is now completely gone. Not worth it. I don't even get these expansion packs. If you get to keep them, maybe that's a different story. The Sims City Living actually left. It's no longer available, but The Sims Island Living is currently available on PS Plus. So then we have The Settlers New Allies, which is, I believe, a Ubisoft game. Yep, a Ubisoft original. So that one's not going to leave. Don't worry about that one. And also the original Watch Dogs. Again, Ubisoft game, so I wouldn't worry about that one. Lego Movie 2. Again, don't worry about Lego Movie games. They do not leave. And then we have Stranded Alien Dawn. This is basically a planet survival sim where you get to create a stronghold and defend the base from alien creatures. This is not a bad game. It has a score of 81 with a user score of 7.7. So overall, that's a pretty good rating. Let's see how long it is. Ooh, we got some redness over here. Redness is never good. So I think because this is like a survival sim tower defense type game, it tends to go on a lot longer than it should. Kind of overstays its welcome. So the runtime is up to 20 hours for the shortest completion, if you want to call it that. And then we have crime boss Rockay City. Finally, the users agree with the critics. This has a 52, so don't even bother with this one. This is basically like a payday type game, or maybe more like the heists in GTA 5. But the main thing this game's got going for it is the surprising amount of celebrity cameos. They even got Chuck Norris. What the heck? What a waste of talent. And then we get to some sad news over here. Finally, some good short games. We have Cat Quest and Cat Quest number 2. I highly recommend these short games. They are really fun to play. So Cat Quest, the original one, unanimously has a score of 74. And Cat Quest 2 did a little bit better with a score of 76 and a user score of 7.7. Or should this be called Dog Quest? Cat Dog Quest. So the first one is truly a short game, and you can beat the main story in less than 6 hours. And if you want the Platinum Trophy, the Completionist run takes less than 11 hours. Cat Quest 2, just as good, only 7.5 hours, and for the Completionist run, it's 12.5 hours. So out of the whole list, these are the ones I recommend you play because you actually have the time to beat them. They don't waste your time too much, and they're a really fun game to level up. It's like an action RPG, but a much, much shorter version of it. And for premium games, we have 2 Extreme, G Police, Worms Pinball, and that's it. So big news, not announced, but Dredge released later that month, but it was not announced in the initial announcement. So I'm going to put this on the list. Dredge might leave PS Plus next month. So that about covers all the games that could potentially leave. Remember, we're not saying that each one of these games is going to leave. The list is way too big in this video. But what we are saying is that the games that will leave will be from this pool of games that came to Extra 12 months and 24 months ago. We will do a follow-up video in 2 weeks when the list is officially announced. Then we will see how accurate our predictions were. So far, we've been killing it, so I hope you enjoy the extra 2 weeks on top of the 4 weeks that Sony's gonna give you. So now the question becomes, what games are you going to start today? Are you gonna be able to beat at least 2 of these games? Maybe do the whole Tomb Raider trilogy? Let me know in the comments which game you're excited to play because analysis paralysis is not gonna hold you back from playing something this month. I hope you enjoyed the video and the extra 2-week head start. Subscribe if you haven't already if you found this video useful. And until next time, be a friend and I'll see you again.